Welcome back in here, challengers. Look at you, not too scared to show back up on time on Zoom for day number 2. Ida, Michelle, Eamon, Brian, Arian, Joseph, John, Elizabeth, Valerie, Mary, Hina. It is a gift to be with you all back here again today. Indeed, it is day number 2 of the My Moment Challenge. Today is all about taking the decisions you make and doing something about them effectively so that you go further faster. And so the first thing I'm going to ask you to do in order to go further faster, turn those cameras on. I want you to grab a fist, squeeze that fist, pull it down, and say yes. And I want you to go into that chat right now and send a message to Joseph because he's watching the chat. I think he's even on screen already, but we're going to get ready to bring him up in just a bit. Let him know what you're excited about today, what was impactful yesterday. Say hi, introduce yourself. We're going to get ready to kick things off in just a minute. When it comes to working with Joseph McClendon III to get new results for your life, it takes doing things differently than most to move you closer to the results that you desire and the ones you deserve. I should know. About, almost 5 years ago, before working with and getting coaching from Joseph, this was me. I mean, just going through it, guys. And then, like I said, about 5 years later, after going through processes with Joseph, taking some coaching seriously, this was a real photo this morning when I walked outside my house. This is a real photo. I mean, transformation. This is what it looks like. Let me get this stupid thing out of here. No, but seriously. Seriously, though, I wasn't that bad of shape about 5 years ago. I was doing pretty okay. I was motivated. I had a plan. I was optimistic. I even had a decent amount of tools in my toolkit to make things happen, if you will. The thing was, I just wasn't using them. I wasn't using them effectively. And I was missing some key essential pieces to those things that would help me go further faster. And what it came down to was a skill set, a process that I learned right from Joseph. And it's what I attribute directly. Whenever anyone ever asks me, how did I get to working with Joseph McClendon? I directly attribute it to this process, this system, this skill set that you're going to be introduced to later today. And it's how I am here speaking with you, being able to host the My Moment Challenge right here, right now. And so with that, everybody, I would like you to go back, find that chat box, and I want you to type this in for me. Give me JM3. And without further ado, please help me welcome back day number 2 of the My Moment Challenge, Joseph McClendon III.
Thank you so much. Welcome back, everybody. And you too, just like Brandon, if you do what I say, you can look as good or better than an AI-generated image of yourself. Just stay with it. All right. Well, first off, I'm happy to see you guys. And as Brandon said, welcome for having the bravery to show up here on day number 2. And I'm going to ask a question first straight up front because we're going to jump into this. First question is, type of 1, if you did your homework. Fabulous, beautiful, beautiful. Well, let me share with you a couple things as we get started. And I have the privilege of today of introducing you to somebody, and you're going to meet somebody, another one of my mentors, friends, and somebody that is, let's just say, a beacon of light for so many other people as well. To share something with you first, let me go over what we did yesterday and why. Okay, so yesterday was about decisions. And remember what I said, that it's not that life doesn't give us what we want. Life gives us what we decide. It's all about a decision. But the thing that I had you deciding on was deciding what you're going to have. And that was it. But let me tell you why that was. I think my dog's going crazy back there. Let me tell you why we did it that way. Let me ask you a question. How many of you could use a bit more certainty in your life? Type of 1. Now, by the way, play full out with me today, because remember, everything fits together. Everything is here for a reason, okay? Certainty is the foundation of getting anything done, because that's what today is about, is the doing part of it. It truly is. You don't do something if you're not certain that you're going to get a result, good, bad, or otherwise. That's what goes on in our brain. But certainty is something that is generated, something that is cultivated, something that is a part of you that grows. And so some of you might have asked, and I've heard people ask this before, well, Joseph, why didn't we just write down our goals, what we want? That's second, okay? That's what's coming up today, and to do something about it. But if you can know what you want, but you don't do what you know, and you're going to find out, we talked about it yesterday, it's the toxic 10 that stops us from doing what we want. We'll reiterate that stuff again. But the reason we don't do what we know is because we're not certain we're going to get a result that we desire. Type of 1, if that makes sense. There's something inside of it that says, well, maybe not. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe I'm too fat. I'm too black. I'm too white or whatever. And that stuff goes through our mind even on an unconscious level. But certainty comes from, here's where certainty always comes from. It comes from either you've had an experience of doing it yourself, or you had an experience that made you go, oh, I believe that. We call that a significant emotional event. For instance, how do you know that you can drive a car? Why is it that you don't get in a car and every time freak out and go, where's the gas pedal and that? It's because you've done it before. You've had that experience over and over again. Type of 1, if that makes sense, okay? Or something happened and you had an experience and you went, oh, that's the way it is, and you believed it. And there's lots of different ways to make us believe things, not the least of which, we get input from our distractions and things like that, cell phones, but that's all it is. So check this out. Here's why we did this exercise in the way that we did it, is because this is about certainty. Matter of fact, type of 1, if when you think about what I had you do yesterday, it makes you feel good. Just think about it. Whatever I had you write down, the possibility of making it happen. Well, here's the beauty of it. Yeah, everybody. Here's the beauty of it. See, we're working on, remember, think, feel, do, have. We're working on the most important part, your thoughts, so that it becomes automatic, because we're helping you neuro-encode yourself. And later as we're going on, you're not only going to neuro-encode yourself, but you're going to learn how to magnetize yourself as well. Oh, don't get me started, okay? But here's what happens, is that the mind, the brain, and the body cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's not when we imagine it. If I have you imagine biting into a lemon or licking a lemon, your mouth will water. When you think about doing something that you like, you get excited. When you think about the person you love, your heart beats, because it's think, feel, do, have. And so if you can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not, what we just did was put some certainty in your brain about something that could be real, type of 1, if that makes sense. Because you've heard this before. It's my mentor, Jim Rohn, always said this. It's the how comes second, the why comes first. And in doing this exercise, you are building inside yourself a very strong why. Why? Because that picture that you made makes you feel good, type of 1, if this makes sense. That's all we were doing. That's the reason why we did it in that way. No pun intended, why? The analogy that I always use is this. If there's a house, and this house is surrounded by a moat full of water, and in that water are alligators and crocodiles and sharks and piranhas and poisonous fish, whatever, snakes, whatever, and it's nasty. And around the outside of that house is a chain link fence, and it's a barbed wire fence, and it's electric fence. And you and I are standing on the other side of it, on the outside of the fence, and I tell you that there's $10 in that house. Type of 1, if you'd go risk all of that stuff to go get $10. Well, unless you're crazy, no, you wouldn't. Why? Because it's only $10. But watch this. If I said in that same house, asleep in the bed is the person that you love the most in life, your sister, your mother, your brother, your father, your whatever, your child, and that house is on fire, and if you don't get in and wake them up and get them out of there, they'll burn to death. Type of 1, if you'd go get in the house now. Yeah, because you have a strong enough reason why. Well, guess what? Did they burn already? Yes or no? No. But it's in your brain that's believing that it's real. Your brain has oh, it could happen, that kind of thing. Well, what if you put what you started to do last night, what could happen in your future? Type of 1, if you see how this works and why this is so important and why this is so much different than just writing down your goals and writing down, here's what I want. Because there we can do that all day long, and I promise you've done that as well. So real quickly, I'm going to go through just a couple things, recap what we've done. We learned think, feel, do, have. That's the name of the game. We learned about the, I'm going through these quickly, but I'll go over them later. We learned about the toxic 10. We learned about there's only 10 things that stop us, what we do. And those toxic 10 keep us from making it happen. And that's all you learned yesterday. I mean, in a nutshell, those are the basic things that you learn. Now, today, we're going to take those things, we're going to do something with them. But before we do that, or as we do that, I get to introduce you to somebody who's an unbelievable special friend of mine and yours. And those of you that are members of the Neuroencoding Institute know the power and the amazement of this man. His name is Michael Pope, and Michael has been with us from the very beginning. He is an unbelievable father, unbelievable author, speaker, presenter. He's a coach, and he's our tech guy. Even though today I want you to understand the depth of this man and the depth of what he has to offer as well. He is one of our top 3 trainers, or actually each one of them is number 1 in their field. And he has helped countless hundreds of thousands of people go further faster. So if you would, please put your hands together and help me welcome my dear friend and now your dear friend, Michael Pope. Michael Pope Jr., as a matter of fact.
Oh, thank you, Joseph. Everyone, wow. Love it, love it. It is such an honor to be here with you all today. Man, I am fired up about the show, about being a part of this challenge. I mean, I tell you, Joseph's processes have absolutely changed my life. Well, I am Michael Pope, international speaker, coach, and trainer, and I help high achievers stop hesitating and take bold action. And like I said, I am very excited to be here today. As Joseph mentioned, yesterday was all about the deciding. So hopefully you did the homework and you decided on what you want. Today is all about the do, and tomorrow you get to dominate. But one thing I want you to understand, really one truth that I believe you have to really grasp is that you don't wait for your moment, you have to prepare for it. And so friends, my goal today is to help you prepare to dominate by learning how to be a doer. And I'll tell you, I believe so much in the concept of being a doer. I wrote a book on it. I actually have a water bottle right here, right, that has doer on it. That's how much I believe in the concept of doing. And that's what I'm going to be talking to you about today, how to do. So let's jump into this a little bit here. All right. So here's one truth that you all have to really understand. Let me go back here. According to Forbes, 1 in 3 people miss major opportunities simply because they hesitated. Think about that. They miss major opportunities because they hesitated. I know I'm guilty of it. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever missed a major opportunity because you hesitated. Yeah. So say this to yourself. Not today, hesitation. All right, one more time. Not today, hesitation. That's part of my daily mantra of constantly reminding myself, hey, not today, hesitation. You're not going to make it if you're hesitating. So I'm excited about sharing this concept with you here today. You see, because hesitation has cost me a lot. It's cost me time. It's cost me money. It cost me a moment that I can never get back. The year was 1994. I was 20 years young, and I was sitting on the front row at my Grandpa Joe's funeral. Now, some of you have heard me talk about my grandpa before. He was my hero. He was a father figure for me when I really needed one. Grandpa Joe was a doer. And I remember that day sitting there, tear-filled eyes, and I started thinking back about how my Grandpa Joe had really impacted me. He says, as a young boy, I spent a lot of time with my grandpa. And when he was 8 years old, the unthinkable happened. Grandpa Joe got sick, and they had to amputate my grandfather's legs below the knee. Despite the pain, and I'm sure it was painful, he spent the majority of his days caring for his wife, my grandmother, because she was paralyzed on one side of her body. And I would watch my grandpa crawl out of bed, and he would patiently care and feed my grandma. And I was about 8 or 9 years old, looking at it, and I thought, Grandpa, what are you doing? Stay in bed. Let the nurses care for her. It didn't make sense to me. But Grandpa Joe was a doer. On nice days, he would put on his 2 heavy prosthetic legs, and I would watch him grow from about 4'6" to 6 feet tall right in front of me. And Grandpa would walk around the community doing for others. He even drove neighbors to doctor's appointments. He was a doer. I didn't understand it, but I loved watching him do it. Fast forward, I remember watching my grandpa Joe receive the Thomas Jefferson Servant Leadership Award. And I remember looking at this award in recognition of outstanding public service. And I looked at the award and I was like, wow, I said, Grandpa, how can I win an award like this? And he looked at me. It was a look I had never seen before. He said, Mike, it's not about the award. It's about the impact you have to make doing for others part of who you are. Now, friends, at the time, I didn't get it. But you see, years later, when I was sitting at my Grandpa Joe's funeral, that's when those words came back to me. Mike, it's about the impact you have to make doing for others part of who you are. And I remember sitting there that day, and then I heard the invitation. It said, anyone who wants to come up and talk about Joe, come on up front. And I sat there, and in my heart, I really wanted to. I wanted to tell them how wonderful my Grandpa Joe was. I wanted to tell them how much I love Grandpa Joe. I'm sitting there, tears in my eyes. A relative leaned over and said, hey, little Mike, are you going to go up and speak about Grandpa Joe? I sat there. I wanted to, but I didn't. I hesitated, and the time passed. Why? Because hesitation showed up that day, and it started chattering in my ear. Oh, you're not a public speaker. Someone already said what you're going to say. Just stay seated. Just stay seated. And I listened. And that hesitation haunted me for years. Put a 1 in the chat if hesitation's ever haunted you, and you had that feeling of regret. Day after day, month after month, year after year. I dealt with that regret for a long time. Fast forward to 2003, I finally joined my first speaking club, and I was given an opportunity to speak and give my first speech. Raise your hand if you've ever felt nervous speaking before people before. Yeah, I know many of you have. Yeah. That day I walked into that room feeling nervous, terrified, and I looked over at my chair, and guess who showed up? I'm sure you can guess. Hesitation. But this time he wasn't alone. He brought friends with him. He came in there with procrastination. It was hesitation, fear of failure, fear of success, self-doubt, self-loathing, imposter syndrome. All of those in there. Fear of rejection, overwhelm, stress. And they were all chattering in my ear as I sat in my seat, nervously waiting to get called up. And I sat there in my seat, listening to them. My palms were sweaty. My mouth was dry as if I had been chewing on cotton. And then I heard my name. And I had a decision. We all have to make decisions in life. This time I decided to stand up, and I flicked hesitation off my shoulder, and I nervously walked to the front of that room, and I said, hello, I'm Michael Pope. That moment, that decision, that bold action, that was the beginning of me starting the process of being a doer like Grandpa Joe. So what does a doer look like, you ask? Well, I'm going to show you. So today I'm going to show you how doers win the moment. Doer is an acrostic that I use. Discipline, one thing, eliminate, and responsibility. And I'm going to show you how taking these 4 strategies here, how you can start winning every single moment of your life. So hopefully y'all did the homework. I saw lots of ones when Joseph asked earlier that you did the homework. Obviously, I did my homework. I've learned from Joseph. Hey, if he gives me something to do, I need to do it. Even if it's a little uncomfortable, I still have to do it. So let's get going here. Let's start with discipline. And I love this. The first time I heard Joseph say this, I wrote it down and I use it on a regular basis. Joseph's definition of discipline is amazing. Discipline is doing the prescribed activity no matter what, even and especially when it's difficult. And it's that no matter what, even and especially when it's difficult, that's important. Because let's face it, in life, when you're trying to do something great, when you're trying to do something worthwhile, it's going to be difficult at times. right? You're trying to discipline yourself to take action. You've already decided what you want. You're trying to discipline yourself. It's going to get a little difficult. But you've got to have that commitment to show up every single day, doing it no matter what. And so for me, discipline isn't punishment. It's the commitment to show up for myself every single day. So here are my 3 homework assignments, statements that I put together. So for my health, I wrote down, I am committed to creating and maintaining vibrant health. Every day I nourish my body with the right foods, move with strength and energy, and prioritize rest so I can show up as my best self in every area of my life. So that's for my health. And so for me, what that means is I'm 51 years young. And I know that water is vital for my life. So I'll make sure I'm drinking water on a regular basis. I'm moving my body with some form of exercise, working on breathing exercises, but constantly focusing on my health because it's important. Got a lot to do. So that's the health. Let's talk about happiness. I choose to live in joy, gratitude, and peace. I surround myself with uplifting people like this amazing community. I focus on what's good and create experiences that make a life meaningful and fulfilling. So here's how discipline works in that area. For me, a big part of it is doing the mirror exercise. I learned that from Joseph. He says, when you walk past a mirror, you look at it, you see yourself eye to eye, you put a big smile on your face, and you say your name. I say, Michael, I love you. You're amazing. I thank you. And I look at myself and I use affirmations. I say things like, I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm financially abundant. Today is going to be a great day. People out there waiting for you to serve them. Let's make it happen. And I'm constantly doing that. It takes discipline. But every day I take bold action. I live with joy. And I'm able to create the life that I envision because I'm focused on that discipline. Let's talk about financial abundance part of it. I am building a purpose-driven business that consistently generates multiple 6 figures of income annually, enabling me to add exceptional value to others, live fully in my calling, create the freedom to impact lives on a larger scale. And for me, what that means is that I need to discipline myself to focus on income-producing activities every single day. So as an example, today, here's what I did. I accepted an opportunity to speak on a webinar in October. I put together a list of 3 paid speaking opportunities that I'm going to apply for on Monday. I also had 2 coaching calls today. So I'm constantly disciplining myself to do income-producing activities as a doer. So let's turn to you. Think about this. What is one wealthy, so your health, your happiness, your financial abundance, what's one wealthy habit that you know you need to be consistent with, but haven't fully committed to yet? Write it down. Let's face it, we all know the things we should be doing, right? It's already in us what we should be doing. But as Joseph mentioned, right, that toxic 10 is stopping most of us from doing those things. Discipline is going to help with that. Okay, so that's D. D is discipline. Let's move over to one thing. I mentioned before, O is all about the one thing. The mistake that I made for years was trying to do multiple things at once. I was the king of multitasking. I was like, oh, I can do it all. I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. But I wasn't being effective. And I've had to learn, hey, I need to focus on one thing at a time. Do it well, get it done, move on to the next thing, and then the next thing. And that's how life works. You can't effectively multitask. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever struggled with trying to multitask and in the day you said, hey, I didn't get anything done because your focus was so scattered. You learn how to focus on that one thing, you will be effective. You will be so effective at hitting the goals that you're trying to achieve. So for me, I had to learn how to focus on what matters most in that particular moment. And like I said, I worked to do it well. And I'm going to encourage you to do the same thing. So for you, when you're thinking about your one moment, think about, okay, if you could only do one action today to improve your wealth, right? Health, happiness, financial abundance, what would it be? And when would you do it? Like I said, we all know what we should be doing, right? You've read enough books, you've attended enough seminars, you know what to do. But we got to figure, okay, today, what am I going to do? And so for me, part of my preparation is planning the night before, of knowing, okay, tomorrow, these are the one things that I'm going to get done, right? And that may be 3 items, but I'm going to plan it the night before and then make sure I do it. So thinking about yourself, write it down. If you could only do one action today to improve your wealth, what would it be? And when would you do it? So let's transition over to E, endure. This is one that absolutely changed my life. I'll tell you, I graduated college in 1997. And I remember going to work and I would fail on certain projects and I was always making excuses and really just not getting things done. And I found a mentor named Percy. And I remember asking Percy, I said, Percy, man, you're so successful. You've got so much confidence and charisma. We're dealing with people. You're such a great leader. What's your secret? And he looked at me and he said, Mike, if I loan you a book, will you read it? Now, to be honest with you, I wasn't a reader, but I went ahead and said, yeah. I was like, sure. So Percy handed me this book right here, The Magic of Thinking Big. And I remember looking at that book. Yeah, I remember looking at that book and I was like, it's kind of thick. I wasn't really much of a reader. I was like, Percy, okay. And I put it on my shelf of someday books, right? I think we've all got those type of books, those someday books on our shelf. Put it to the side. A couple of weeks later, thankfully, Percy was a great mentor and coach. A couple of weeks later, he called me up and said, hey, Michael, how's that book coming? How are you doing with it? I said, oh, Percy, man, I really haven't gotten to it yet. I mean, it's got a lot of pages in it. I said, I got this new job here and I'm still learning the city. I gave him excuse after excuse after excuse. He just listened patiently. He said, Michael, let me ask you, you graduated from college, right? I said, oh, yeah. He said, okay. He said, you think maybe you're capable of reading maybe one chapter? I said, oh yeah, I can handle one chapter. I felt challenged a little bit, right? He said, go grab the book. I went and grabbed the book. He said, turn to chapter 2 and read me the title. I turned to chapter 2. The title said, Cure Yourself of Excusitis, the Failure Disease. I read that chapter, or I read that title, then I read that chapter, and I realized that every area in my life where I had struggled, where I had failed, was a direct result of the excuses I'd been making. And I had to learn how to stop making excuses and stop allowing distractions to interrupt me. And it changed everything for me. So now instead of making an excuse, I'm constantly looking, okay, what is a possible solution? Or how can I do this? I'm asking myself the right questions. So think for yourself, what excuse do you most often use? And what would happen if you stopped believing it? So for me, I had to stop believing those excuses. I had to stop believing in those potential distractions because they were just stories that I was telling myself. And so for you, what is it? Is it that you don't have time? Is it that you don't have money, knowledge? Is it fear? Is it doubt, unbelief? Is it laziness? I've dealt with all those. Joseph's going to show you a process for eliminating the toxic 10 to eliminate those. And once you do that, you've got to be able to eliminate those excuses from your life. It changes everything for you. So that's E, endure, eliminating excuses. Moving on to R. So R is big for me. I learned in life there's only 2 things that I have complete control over. It's just 2. I have control over my attitude, right? The way I think, as I think. And I have control over my actions, my doing. That's the only thing I have control over. And so R is all about taking complete responsibility for your actions and your attitude. The mistake I made for years was pointing blame at others for where I was in life. You see it on social media all the time. Oh, because this person in the office, I can't do this. Or because my boss is me and I can't do this. Or that receptionist doesn't like picking up the phone, so I can't make calls at that place. Constantly making excuses. But I had to learn, hey, I'm responsible for my attitude. I'm responsible for my actions. So I can control whether I make a phone call or not. I can control whether I ask for a sale. I can control the way I think. Even in a sad situation, right? I know how to think, change my attitude. Thanks to Joseph's stop technique. I can take a bad situation, flip it around, and now I can see the positive in it. Right? I might not be happy with it. However, my attitude still can be positive and optimistic. Taking personal responsibility. It helps change everything. It changed everything for me. So for you, think about this. If your wealth was 100% your responsibility, what's one action you would start taking today? And what would your attitude be about it? Think about it. If your wealth, meaning your happiness, your health, your financial abundance was 100% your responsibility, what action would you take? What would your attitude be? I don't know about you, but I love the feeling, the power of being in control of my choices, in control of my attitude. Guys, it changes everything. There's no more finger pointing at other people. It's all on me. I can choose. And if I put myself here, then I can elevate myself to the next level. Right? It's just a choice. And we can do that. And so that's being a doer. And before I wrap up, I want to give you a perfect example from one of my children. My wife and I have three sons. Three sons. They're all in karate. I'm proud of all of my children. But I just want to show you a quick example here that kind of demonstrates what we're talking about decision and using the process that Joseph talks about. So I'm going to show you, share my screen and show a quick video here. Let me do this. All right. So I'm going to show this video here of my son, Charles. This was a few years back, maybe. And he was attempting to break a board. Now, if you know anything about martial arts and they do board breaking, a lot of times, especially the younger kids, they deal with fear. Like if I hit this board, is it gonna hurt my hand? And or can I do it? Right? All those doubts that we deal with, the toxic 10. So I'm gonna show you this real quick here. And then I'm gonna talk through it. And see, he had good technique, but you can see that he's hesitating a whole lot. He's slowing down every time he gets close to the board. And you can see that it's just, he doesn't really believe he can do it. And that's many of us when we're trying to do something big for the first time. A lot of times we may not believe we can do it. Right? It's that as I think, so I feel. In that moment, he probably didn't feel confident. He probably didn't feel like he could actually do it. And because of that, his doing wasn't as good as it should have been. He was going through the motion, but wasn't with the proper energy. And his half, he didn't break the board that day. So he was disappointed. Right? That's part of life. We're going to have disappointments in life. But it starts here with the way we think. So that's one. I want to show you one from a couple of weeks ago. So this is the same child, a little bit older, of course. And even seeing this, at first, like many of us looking at bricks, the whole thought of your hand touching a brick would scare most people. And we'd be like, I'm not going to do that. That's crazy. Right? You feel that fear. But watch this. And then I'm going to talk through this here. just sat there and broke through 3 bricks. With coaching, right? He's even at his level, almost third degree black belt. He's still receiving coaching, having mentors in his life to help give him direction. But he had 100% confidence that day that he was going to be able to do it. Let me stop the share there. 100% confidence that he was going to be able to do it. Let me. All right, back to my screen here. He had 100% confidence that he was going to be able to do it. And because of that confidence, that belief that he had, he went through the motion full speed, and he was able to break through the brick. And for the one thing, so he had the discipline to take martial arts for years, study his moves over and over and over. But then going to that one thing, one of the things his coach told him was, hey, you're not focused on the brick, you're looking beyond the brick. He was actually aiming for the ground, right? Looking through. And that's what we have to do with our goals. You don't just look right your goal that's right in front of you. Look past it, look beyond it. That's that future pacing Joseph talks about, looking beyond. And that's what he did. The E, he had to eliminate excuses. Fear, doubt, all of those. He had to eliminate the excuse that, hey, I'm barefoot out here outside. It's hot out here. Bugs are flying by, right? There's noise, all the distractions. He had to eliminate those. He took complete responsibility for his actions and his attitude. And he was able to go through 3 concrete bricks. But it all starts with the way he thinks. So as I wrap up, and so Joseph, you can get ready. I'm going to be bringing you back up here. As I wrap up, I just want to remind you that as a doer, having the discipline, focus on that one thing at a time, that one thing you need to do, eliminating excuses and distractions from your life, and taking complete responsibility for your actions and your attitude. If you do that, friends, you will be a doer and you will win your moment. I am Michael Pope. It's been my pleasure to speak with you all today, and I will talk to you all later. Joseph, back to you, sir.
Everybody, before we go to Joseph, give it up for Mr. Michael Pope Jr. Being a doer will never be the same again. I saw so many people, pen to paper. I'm trying to find somebody that I was looking at before. I think it might have been Hannah or Cindy. Could not stop taking notes. That is exactly what we like to see. Listen, before you go and find something to break with an elbow, I just ask that you at least finish day number 2 here, and then we can talk about that process. Michael will be in the comments. I'm just joking around. But listen, everybody, what I want you to do right now is shake yourself out a little bit, okay? I want you to grab a fist, pull it down, squeeze it, and say yes, okay? I want you to go in that chat and type in the chat, I am a doer. Make it even better and say, AJ is a doer, or Michael is a doer, or Brandon is a doer, Steven is a doer. I love it. Gina, Elizabeth, Marie, I see you. I love it. Listen, everybody, you have had enough of my silly ass for right now. So what I'm going to do is bring to the stage back in your life, back for day 2 of the My Moment Challenge. Please help me welcome back Kay and Shy, everybody.
Oh, hey, My Moment Challenge family. Welcome back for day number 2. It's due day, baby. You heard us say it yesterday. But the biggest gap in the world is between what we know and what we do. So let today be the day that we put this into action, that we use Michael's formula to create that next level of our lives. Shy, I am blown away by the engagement. You guys are amazing.
Michael Pope Jr., you brought it. Thank you so much. You know, when the theme really emerged and Joseph talked about what these 3 days look like, and we came to the place of decide, do, dominate, there was no question about bringing the doer methodology and the doer himself MPJ to the stage here. So thank you, Michael, for bringing that. And thank you, all of you, I mean, we saw you playing full out. You were in these comments. You were taking notes. You were excited about what this means for you. Yesterday, we made some decisions. We drew some lines in the sand. We got clear on what we wanted. Today, we're figuring out how to get ourselves to take those actions. And Michael gave us a lot of practical tips. Joseph's about to come on and give you some neuroscience structure around how to get yourself to turn actions into activities, and he'll help you understand what that means. But I love, Michael told us, you know, for him on the Toxic 10, hesitation. Hesitation was the one from the Toxic 10 that hurt him. And so we said, hesitation, not today. Hesitation, not today. Well, maybe it's hesitation for you. Maybe it's fear of rejection. Maybe it's self-doubt. Maybe it's self-loathing. What is your Toxic 10 item that you are saying, not today? Put it in the chat. Procrastination, not today. Fear of failure, not today. What's the one you want to pick and tell it, not today? My line is in the sand. Fortune favors the bold, and you are boldly declaring that not today, toxic trait. You are no longer welcome on these shores. Hesitation, not today. Overwhelm, not today. Distraction, not today. Fear of success, no mo. Not today, not around here. That's what it's all about. This is what you're here for. And you guys are rocking it. We're so proud of you.
Yes, when we are able to look these Toxic 10, the ones that affect us the most, in the eyes and say, not today, that's when our action can really come forward and can blossom in a beautiful way. And you taking the steps here on the challenge is part of you owning that for yourself. That's one of the reasons that we're here for this 3 days. Now, Shai and I will be back later. We'll talk about how you can even extend this challenge out further in your life and go deeper to overcome and continue saying not today for as many days as you can going forward to those Toxic 10 and build the life of a megapreneur. But before we do, Joseph, I know you're chomping at the bit to get at these folks today. We are ready to bring out the man himself. So please, in fact, I can see all of you here. So let's go ahead and put our hands together like this. Let's rub them together. Let's get it hot in here. Let's build some heat because Joseph's gonna bring the fire, y'all. So let's put those hands out to the fire and welcome the one and only Joseph McClendon III.
Well, first and foremost, one more time, give it up for Michael Pope Jr. That was, Michael, I think you're still on here. That was just ridiculous, all right? That was just ridiculous. And I mean that from my heart. When I say ridiculous, I mean it was just off the chain. Never does this man fail. And now you know why he holds the position that he does, not only in life, but in our institute as well, and what he does. And so I want to jump into a couple things and just kind of reiterate some of the things that he talked about. And to remind you that, first off, I'm sure we'll all agree that was an unbelievable presentation. Yes? Type of 1 if you agree with me on that. But here's the greatest part about it. It wasn't just a presentation. I'm sure you felt his heart, and he gave you something to, wait for it, do, okay? He gave you something to do, which is very, very important, because without the do, nothing is going to happen. But I want to reiterate a couple things. And I love, Michael, what you showed your boy and what he went through and everything. And that whole lineage of discipline. You see, discipline does not come automatically. Discipline does not just happen. Discipline happens, it's cultivated, it is created, and we all have it in some areas of our lives. And the trick is to bring it forward into those areas of our lives that make the most difference, that we're going to do now. And so when you look at what his son was doing, I'm just using that as an example. What he showed you in the very beginning, he was not, his boy was not disciplined in snapping himself out of being fearful into being confident or having certainty. And remember, that certainty comes from past experience. He was a young boy. He didn't have experience of busting through boards. He may have seen other people doing it, seeing his coaches and so on and so forth, and knew the mechanics, knew what to do. But in the moment, what happened? He got defocused. You could see it in him. He'd go and he'd hesitate before. In that moment, he gets defocused. He gets taken off. The Toxic 10 comes in. And through time, it was interesting when you showed the second photo, through time, you see he's not only a bigger, stronger, older kid, but he's got a level of certainty about his physiology and everything about him. And I don't think there's anybody in here that didn't know that he's going to go through that board, that he's going to go through those bricks, because now it's bricks. But the one thing that Michael pointed out, that his coach pointed out, and remember, Michael, you said this so beautiful, and that is this: having a coach and listening to that coach all the way through. If there's one thing that I can tell you guys, it's always, always, always surround yourself with, have a coach, have a mentor, have somebody that's been there, done that, that is going to coach you and guide you through and show you what to focus on and what to do at that time and give you something to do so that you cultivate your skill set of discipline. And discipline to me is just another word of certainty, another word for describing the certainty that you have inside. And so having that coach and doing that. And in that moment, you could see his coach went, because he was going like that, he was going like that. And even in that moment, it's like, these are 3 bricks. That would intimidate anybody that's never done it before. You know, in my brain, I'm going, I hope he doesn't break his wrist. I hope he doesn't, that kind of thing. And I know it's going to go through. But the trick to it was this one thing that he said. He said several things, but Michael said this, and I want you to remember this. He wasn't aiming for the bricks. He was aiming beyond the bricks. And if you'll notice it, here was the bricks here, and he was going like that. But then his hand would go through on the prep. He would focus on going through it on the prep. So in his brain, what he's telling his brain is, it's not the bricks. The bricks are no big deal. I'm going for the other side. I'm going for what's on the other side. And when you have that default, then he's going to go through the other side. Why am I saying all of this stuff? Where we are right now, the homework that you did yesterday, last night, was to build the certainty inside of your head that it's possible. That it's possible. And Michael, what he wrote down his goals, you're going to do that tonight. You're going to get more specific about what it is that you're going to do. But now you'll have the certainty that it's going to happen, and I'm going to give you a tool for making that happen as well. And so I'm going to say this. See, here's what people have. Everybody here has a dream. Everybody has a dream of doing something. All people have dreams. We have dreams every single night. But I guarantee you, most of you don't remember what you dreamt last night, because dreams are temporary. Dreams go away. They feel good in the moment. They're exciting in the moment, but they go away and we get distracted. Remember that word, we get distracted. And so what you want to have is something called a vision, which is what we're going to build more on later. But a vision is a dream that is visited often with intense emotional feelings about it. In other words, not just writing something down. I'm going to show you how to embed it inside yourself, but writing something down so it shows up every day so that this discipline becomes automatic. And how do we do that? We do it one bit at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One bit at a time. What Michael said is so true. Being the jack of all trades, which is what I was, by the way, for a long time, and trying to multitask and doing everything all at once, it gets overwhelming. Type of 1, if you know what I'm talking about. It gets overwhelming. It's like, I got this to do and everything. But instead, if you just do one little thing at a time, and sometimes the simple things like I had you do last night, and I'm going to have you do today, it has a compounded effect. It's not just 1 + 1. It's 1 + 1 is 2, and 2 + 2 is 4, 6, 8, 10. It just multiplies like that. So having said that, that's what we're going to do. But I want to give you an example, or I'm going to give you where we're going to start today. We're going to talk about, remember, there's only 10 things that stop us, but there's 3 things that help us go further, faster. And I'm going to talk about those 3 things here in a moment. But for now, I'm going to remind you, procrastination, hesitation. Now, by the way, you've heard Michael say it, you've heard me say it, you've heard Kay and Shai say it. We say it over and over again. There it is again. Matter of fact, take out your freaking phone and take a picture of it. Do it now. Procrastination, hesitation, fear of failure, fear of success, self-doubt, self-loathing, imposter syndrome, stress, overwhelm, and fear of rejection. I've got it memorized. And everybody in the Neuroencoding Institute has it memorized as well. Because those are the things, as Kay and Shai said, and what Michael said is, not today, any of those things. But we're going to take all of those things, and you can do one at a time. However, I'm going to show you something that's going to help you mitigate all of them. Okay? But having said that, it's really interesting when I'm on these types of calls. It's really interesting, and I've evolved to listen to so many people tell me things that I have done for them. And what I mean by that is there's a part of me that goes, because I generally do, and I really mean this. When somebody says, Joseph, you changed my life, you did this, and I mean this from my heart, my comment that I say to them, and I want to say to them, is thank you for that compliment, and you did the work. I may have shared something with you, but you're the one who did the work. And I'm going to say this to you right now. So listening to, all this stuff come by, sometimes it's a little hard to take for me sometimes, but I take it. And the reason I say that is because sometimes people will say to me, Joseph, your life is amazing. You do all this stuff and you probably never suffered from that stuff. Oh, yes, I did. And like I said before, I still go through it, but I don't spend that much time in it. So I'm going to give you an example of all the toxic 10 all at once. And the day I realized that I was living in that and it's time to do something about it. And so the year was again, we're getting old again, was 1994. And in 1994, a lot of things were happening in my life, and I made a shift from being a musician into doing what I do now. I started, I opened a practice, started doing NLP, and I started doing, helping people get over fears and phobias and everything. But then I wanted to spread out even further. So I decided that I wanted to write a book. Now, I never wrote a book before. Never, ever wrote a book before. So I wanted to write a book. So I went to my friend who already had a book. Remember the modeling process that I talked to you about? You just find somebody that's already done what you're doing and model them. Let them be your coach. And my friend Tony Robbins had already written a book. And so I went to him and I said, hey, let's write this book together. And he said, okay, let's do it. You write the book. I'm busy. And I go, okay, I'm fine. I'll write it. But I'd never written a book before. And I knew that this book was going to be epic. I knew that this book was going to be something that was going to change people's lives. And so we went to Simon & Schuster, which was the publishing company at the time. And they gave us a bunch of money. And they said, and remember, I had to write the book. And Tony said, I'll edit and I'll do these things, but I got to go. And so I said, no worries, I can do this. And I went home. Now, this was 1994. In 1994, the biggest computer was like a 386, type of one, if you remember those days. Okay, a 386. And that was like the major thing. And I had like a 286. And I had this little desk. I was in this like 1 or 2 bedroom apartment and everything. And I was just getting started. And I had this little tiny desk. And I went in and I remember sitting down. This book is going to be epic. I mean this. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be a book that's going to change people's lives. And I was fired up about it. And I sat down at my little desk and I thought to myself, from humble beginnings shall rise the phoenix from the ashes of this thing that's going to be amazing. These are the things I'm telling myself, right? And I sat down at my desk. It was a little tiny, just rickety little desk and this horrible little chair, a little desk lamp and everything. And I had this huge, remember in the olden days, this big computer. No, actually, no. In the beginning, I had just a little 286 laptop. And I remember sitting there going, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I got excited about it. And I looked at it and I thought, would you look at this little computer? They make a 386. I got the money. They gave me money. And by the way, I had 2 months to get the first chapter out. 2 months. And I thought, I got the money. And I got up and I left. This is before the internet. And I left and I went to the computer store. And like 5 days later, maybe almost a week later, I came back with the biggest 486 huge monitor. Remember those things? They were, big monitor and the keyboard and all that stuff and everything. And then it took me another 2 or 3 days to hook it up and learn how to use it. But now I'm ready. Now I got, less than a month and a half to get this done. And I sit down and I go, okay, I'm going to do this now, and I'm ready to go. And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm going, this is amazing and everything. So I'm going to go. I'm going to do this. And I thought, would you look at this little desk? The computer takes up the whole thing. This book is going to be epic. I can't write a book on this. I got the money. So I got up, and I left, and I went out, and I bought the biggest. It took up half my apartment. It was a big wraparound desk with all that stuff, and it had one of those things where it had a glass top where the monitor sat down inside and a pull-out drawer for the keyboard and everything. And then it took me another 3 or 4 days to hook it up. Now I got a month and a week left to do. And I sat down. I'm starting to feel it a little bit. Okay, I got to get this done. I hadn't written one freaking word yet. I hadn't even put the title of the book on the page yet. I sat down and I go, okay, all right, I'm going to do this now. And I sat down and I got ready to do it. And I got ready to type and I thought, would you look at this chair? Unbelievable. It didn't even have wheels on it. And it was just like I'd had this chair forever. I'm going to write an epic book. I'm going to write something that is going to change people's lives. I can't write it from this chair. I got the money. So I got up and I went out. And by the way, I still have that chair, by the way. Let me show you the chair. If you haven't seen one of these things, it's called a Herman Miller, and it was like the state of the art. But as you can see, it's old right now. So I got up and I went out and I got that freaking chair. And it was like, you know, $1,000 back in 94 or 94. And I got down, so I had my chair and I'm rolling around. I'm like, just like, hey, this is awesome. This is awesome. I'm ready to go. I got a month left to write. And I hadn't written one word yet. And I sat down and I go, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And then I go, wow, this thing, you know, it's hard to roll around, even though it's got the great wheels on it. I know what I need. I need one of those mats that lays down, you know, those plastic things that lays down. So I got up and I left. And I went and I came back, and now I got the chair, I got the computer, I got the desk, I got this thing to roll around. There's no excuses, none whatsoever. I'm ready to go, and I'm excited. I'm ready to go. And I sat down. I'm going, okay, today's the day. I'm going to do this. And I thought, you know that little filter or the little screen underneath the refrigerator that collects the dust? I've never changed mine. And I swear to God, I stood up and I was heading downstairs to go and clean out the filter. What the hell? And it was in that moment that I realized I was deep within the clutches. I didn't call it the toxic 10 back then, deep within the clutches of the toxic 10. And I realized in that moment, if I continue this way and I don't do something about it, this book isn't going to get written. And I remember doing a version of what I'm going to show you now. That's where I started. That's where this really began. And I sat down and I started to do it. And within a few days, not only did I have the, you know, most of the chapter done, but I had started, I went back, and all I would do is I would write and I would do just a little bit at a time. You know, if you're going to write 100 pages, guess what? If you write 5 pages a day, at the end of that, at the end of the month, and listen, you're at the end of 10 days, you know, you're going to have, you know, 50 pages. At the end of that month, you're going to have more than you can possibly imagine. And that's what I did. And as a result, cutting to the chase, this was my first book, Unlimited Power, Black Choice. And it was a New York Times bestseller, my very first book. And since then, I've written this book, and 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 3 others. I have 8 books. And the reason I share that with you is not to brag or to boast, but to let you know, from the ashes rose the phoenix. What happens to all of us is this. When we do something and we're successful at it, even if it's just a little bit, and we do the right thing that I'm going to show you here now, it builds the certainty and the confidence in you. Because see, I'd never written a book before. And you can apply this to anything. When you do something and you give yourself the credit and the praise and all that stuff for it, your brain goes, wait a minute, where did this oxytocin, where did this dopamine, where did all these things come through and make me feel good? Oh, it's because I did just a little bit. And it inspires you and it fuels you to go further, faster. Type of 1, if this makes sense. And type of 1, if you can relate to what I was doing, that you procrastinate, and all that stuff was in there, all of us. And having said that, I want you to understand something. Kay and Shai said this earlier, and that is today is about doing, or in another word, people say action. Action. But I want to take it a little bit further because that's how we roll around here. Action is great. Action will get some movement going, but it will not sustain the movement. It will not keep it going. What you need instead of action is, along with action, is something called activity. An activity is action repeated over and over again. Because you can go to the gym and lift the weight, you can take action, lift the weight 10 times, that's not going to build the muscle. It's going to be 10 times today, 10 times tomorrow, 10 times the next day until you surpass your goal. And so activity is what we want, but activity is only going to come from you prepping yourself and giving yourself whatever it takes to make yourself want to do it tomorrow. Because I guarantee you, I promise you this, anything that you want, and the reason you're not doing it, and again, I use things like losing weight or making money or whatever it is. The only reason that you're not doing it, wait for this, It's because you don't feel like doing it. That's it. Don't make it any more complicated than that. When it's time to eat salad instead of cake, you don't feel like eating salad. You feel like eating cake. So guess what wins? When it's time to go to the gym, when it's time to do whatever. And again, this is synonymous with everything. If you don't feel like doing it, you're not going to do it. You're going to do what you feel like doing, even if the feel like doing is not going to serve you. Type of one, if that makes sense. When I was sitting there doing all that crap about, needing a chair, needing a computer, needing all that stuff, I felt like getting up and going and looking for that stuff. And it was so easy for me to be distracted and doing those other things. Okay. Secondly, I want you to write this down. Okay. Focus equals refocus. And here's what that means. See, none of us have a challenge focusing. If I said to you right now, if you go out to your mailbox right now, there's $100,000 cash in your mailbox. I promise you, every single one of you is going to get up and go, screw you, Joseph, I'm out. And you're going to go outside because that's what you're focused on. And you're going to feel like going and doing it. Type of one if I'm correct on that. Okay. Why? Because that's really important to you right now. And that's what you're going to go do. But look at this. Even if there was $100,000 out there, and I hate to do this to you, but the person that you love right now fell down a flight of stairs and cut themselves, and they're bleeding out on the ground right there, even though there's $100,000 in the mailbox. Where's your focus going to go? Your focus is going to go on that person right there. You're going to say that 100 grand is going to wait. Let me take care of this person that I love. And so the reason I say that is focus is something that can be changed in any given moment. The trick is to not just let any and everything take your focus away. The trick is to deliberately direct your focus and trigger yourself so that you are refocused. Because type of one, if you've ever, you wrote a list of stuff that you're going to do, your to-do list that you're going to do that day. And at the end of the day, you went, I didn't get jack done today. I didn't get any of this stuff done. All of us. Why? It wasn't because you didn't have good intention. By the way, you guys got to keep me honest on time because I have no idea what time I started. Somebody, Brandon, give me a text or whatever time with an STFU when it's time. Okay. I get excited about this and I forget my time. Okay. So having said that, we've written a list of stuff to do. And at the end of that list, we didn't do it. Why? Because you got distracted. How many of you get distracted? The kids come up here. The dogs got, pooped on the ground. Or, this happened over here. There's $100,000 in the mailbox. Whatever. You get distracted. And at the end of the day, you go, gosh, I didn't even remember that, even though you wrote it on your list. Well, here's the trick. What if you had something that was going to remind you to refocus? What if you had something that was going to make you go, oh, get back to that? Because every time you come back to it again, here's what happens. You go, oh, this one, this one. Pretty soon, that's what you keep focusing on. So you don't have a focus challenge. You have a refocus challenge. Okay. Now, first off, type of one if this makes sense. Okay. And by the way, I get to share with you, hope I have enough time left. I get to share with you how to become, okay. Thank you, Brandon. How to become magnetic, how to make this stuff happen automatically to you. Okay. And here's what I mean by that. Oh, fabulous. I got time. Beautiful. All right. So having said that, how to become more magnetic. Because remember, there's 3 things that make you go. How many of you want to know what the 3 things are once you get past the 10 things that help you go further faster? Yeah. Well, I can't tell you yet, but I'm going to. Okay. So here's you go. So I'm going to share with you now how to mitigate or punch a hole in the toxic 10, all of them, so that you start and replace it with something that serves you. Now, this is a simple version of it that anybody can understand and anybody can do, but rest assured, and all my neural encoders, they'll tell you, there's even more in-depth and more effective ways of doing it, but this is something that you can do. And the outcome of this is to simply help you make that hesitation, procrastination, or whatever, not today, make it automatic. Because just like when I was sitting in that chair, automatic, because don't get me wrong, I sat back down in that chair and stuff started to show up again about other things that I should do, go wash my car or something like that. And as soon as it did, I went, oh, oh, I caught myself. Oh, refocus, get back. Type of one, if you'd be interested in knowing what that is. Okay. Absolutely. So that's what today is about. Today is about getting yourself to do. Michael gave you such an unbelievably beautiful, beautiful format of how to become disciplined, all that stuff. That acronym is absolutely beautiful of what to do. Now I'm going to show you how to get yourself to do it. Now here's what it goes. It starts with, I'm going to share with you, this is something, I want you to write it down at the top of your page, pattern replacement. Okay. Pattern replacement. And here's what that means. That when fear shows up, that's a pattern that you go into. When whatever it is, your procrastination, any of that stuff that shows up, that's a pattern with you. Type of one, if you do the same thing over and over again that doesn't serve you, whether it's eating the wrong foods, whether it's scrolling too much on your phone or doing whatever it is, we all do. And that's a pattern with you. But the question is, what kind of pattern is it? Because all patterns carry these three things with them. At the very least, these are the foundations of any pattern. When I say pattern, it's just a way of doing something that you do unconsciously, automatically. That's it. That's all I want you to think about is what are the things that you do automatically? You have a pattern of driving your car the same way, tying your shoes the same way, brushing your teeth the same way. You have a pattern of the way that you talk to people, the way that you talk to yourself. Patterns, patterns, but they all carry with them, and write this down. Number one, they carry a focus with them. Whatever you're focusing on, whatever you're looking at in that moment. And remember, focus is just thinking, making those pictures in your head. That just creates a pattern. And that pattern could be triggered by something, or that pattern could be, it just comes up when something comes up, shows up in your face, and it goes, okay, well, here, you have to do this, you should do that, or whatever. What you will be looking at in that moment is not necessarily that thing. You're looking at, remember what I said before, the certainty of getting what you know you want. And if you don't know what you want, it's going to be that thing of eating the cake or whatever. And so when that shows up, we're looking at this. And then from that, because we're thinking, it causes us to feel a certain way, doesn't it? You're looking at something and it causes you to feel a certain way. If you're looking at that, and again, I use lettuce or salad, and you have a negative association to salad, then it's going to cause you feeling like, I don't want to eat salad. And that's what happens. Okay. And we're going through our brain. We're focused on this thing, and then our brain starts to go, okay, I don't want to do this. Why? Because that's what you've done in the past. Type of one, if this makes sense. Okay. And it also carries with it the third thing. And I'm going through this very, very quickly, but I want you, and you don't have to know all of this stuff. You just do what I tell you to do, and you're going to get the result. Okay. And the last thing that it carries with it is the way that you're holding your body. If you're looking at salad and you're going like this, then remember, your brain is going to release cortisol, adrenaline, and stress hormones and make you feel bad. And if you feel bad, guess what you're going to do? You're going to want to feel good, and you're going to go eat cake. Type of one, if this makes sense. Now, I'm giving you this all really quickly, but I want you to understand that this is how we function as human beings. Something shows up in our lives that represents something to us. In this case, it represents fear. Something shows up in my life when I was typing the things. It's just like, oh, I got to work. I don't know how to write. I've never written a book before. Is this really going to work or whatever? Oh, look, cake. And my cake was to go, get a new computer or to do something else. That triggered me, but that was the pattern that I was in. So, but here's the thing. When we're in a pattern of doing something, unless we do something about that pattern in the moment, we're just going to do it again. You see, you can't change something effectively unless you do something about getting that person out of the pattern they're in. Some of you have heard me say this before. If you came into my office when I was doing practice and you have a fear of dogs, take a guess what's going to be in my office. There's going to be a dog. And the reason there's a dog there is because I want that pattern to show up so that I can do something about it. You see, traditional therapy would have us, you come lay down on my couch and let's talk about, well, what happened when you were 7 years old and all this stuff and everything. And that's effective. It just takes a long time. You come into my office, we're going to deal with it right now. And you're going to be holding that dog in just a few moments. I'm not going to go into the process of how I do that, but I'm going to give you some pieces of it so you can do it for yourself. And so the trick is that you've got to do something about it in that moment. And the do something about it, and I want you to write this down, is called interrupting the pattern. Write it down. You're getting a little bit of neuroencoding science, as Kay and Shai say, okay? And remember, everything that we do is science. This isn't conjecture or unicorns or crystals and rainbows. It's real deal stuff. Interrupting the pattern. What does that mean? That means when they're in the pattern, the undesired pattern, we got to break it. We got to do something about it. We got to split it open. Let me give you the analogy that I love to use, and that is this. So you're sitting in your house and you're watching television and you go, oh, I need to go in the kitchen and get, an ink pen or whatever. And you think, and by the way, you're watching television and you're seeing something, whatever, you're in that pattern but you're focused on this, on the ink pen, you're focused on what's going on here, your body is a certain way, and you're saying to yourself this and everything. But then you stand up and you go into the kitchen to get the ink pen, but you walk into the kitchen and this is you. What the hell did I come in here for? Type of one if that's ever happened to you. Okay. Yeah. Now, here's what I want you to understand. That's your pattern got interrupted. Or here's another analogy. You're talking on the phone. That's universal thing. Now it's this, right? You're talking on the phone, right? And you're having a conversation with somebody. It's a deep conversation and something happens. I know, call, because we all have call waiting on there or, something, it beep, and there's somebody else on the other line. You go, okay, wait a minute. Let me go tell this person I'm on the call and I'll call back. And you go away to that other call and you come back and you can't remember what the hell you were talking about. Type of one if that happens to you. Or somebody comes in and interrupts you because you were in that pattern that I talked about and something interrupted. But here's the beautiful thing. Here's how you get to use it. Here's how you get to use it to squash the toxic 10. Okay. Is that when that happens, when the pattern gets interrupted, 3 very, very important things happen that you get to utilize. Number 1, you're no longer in that pattern. If something interrupts it, you're no longer there because your brain is going somewhere else. Whatever, you're thinking of something else. You're not thinking of that. Now, I want you to understand that. Stay with me. Type of 1, if that makes sense. The very first thing, this is really important because you could be focused on something and something happens and you're no longer there. Why is that so beautiful? Is because the second thing that happens is your brain creates something called a scotoma. A scotoma is a blank spot. In other words, there's a gap between you're on this pattern here and whatever pattern's coming up. But when you interrupt it, there's a blank spot in your brain. It's why you can't remember why you came into the kitchen in the first place. Type of one if that makes sense. The third thing that happens is that blank spot becomes a vacuum, a mental vacuum, meaning it wants something. The brain never wants to stop thinking. That's its job. And it's got to think about something. So that blank spot is going, let me fill it up with something. What is this? What is that? It's curiosity. It is confusion in all those times. And guess what somebody type it in. What does nature always want to do to a vacuum? Type it in. I'll wait. Fill it up. Always, not some of the time, not most of the time, all the time. That's why I was watching this science fiction film last night, and it's always the same thing. And it's always the same thing when you're flying around in the air and you're on an airplane or in space, and a hole gets punched in the side. What does it do? It wants to suck everything out because it's a vacuum. The space is a vacuum, and it wants to suck everything into it. Why don't you look at your brain the same way? Your brain is going, give me something. I don't care what it is. Give me something. Because you've interrupted the pattern, you've created that scotoma, and the brain is going, give me something, give me something. And you're standing around in the kitchen going, what? And what do you usually have to do? You got to go all the way back into the living room and lay down on the couch again. You go, oh, yeah, that's what it was. The moment is gone in that moment. But here's what we get to do. Now, let me give you another analogy that I love to use. You and I are standing on a boat. You can't swim. And all of a sudden, a big wave comes and knocks your silly ass off into the water. And there you are drowning. You're going down for the last breath. You're going down, and all of a sudden, you look, and I'm still standing on the boat, and right behind me, hanging on the wall, are 2 life preservers. There's a red one and there's a green one. And you're going, look, and I reach up and I grab the green one, and I throw it to you, and it lands right there in front of you. Right there in front of you. But you don't like green. You like red. Are you going to go, no, I don't want that one. I want the red one. No. You're going to take whatever I throw to you. And I want you to think to your brain the same way. It's not going to go, I want something else. It's just going to take whatever you throw into it. Why do I say that to you? This is how we replace a pattern. Okay. And I want you to write these words down. This is the process of being able to do it. And it's going to be unbelievably simple. I'm going to tell you about it, then we're going to do it, and then we get to move on. I get to show you how to be a magnet and how the powerfulness of the three things. Okay. Number one, feel bad on purpose. Just write it down. I'll tell you what I mean. This system is just, it's all but flawless in terms of being able to do it, but you got to do it, okay? Which is going to be part of your homework. Feel bad on purpose. What does that mean? Make yourself think about the thing that you don't want to think about. Make what Kay and Shai said, which one of the toxic 10 is the one that has ruled your life? Find that one. Find a time when you felt that way. Find a time when you did it. When I was, at the desk, I knew what it was. It was sitting down at that desk feeling like I got to write this book. Then the fear came up, the toxic 10 came up. And when it does, step number 2, interrupt the pattern. And I'm going to show you how to do that, okay? When it does, you'll interrupt the pattern. Why? For all the reasons I said. You're no longer, in this case, fearful. You're out of that state. You're out of that pattern. The second thing is you've created a scotoma. And the third thing is there's a vacuum. I mean, there's a vacuum in that scotoma. Step number 3, which is the beautiful part. Write this down. Feel good on purpose. Feel good on purpose. Why? Because guess what you give your brain that's wanting that's wide open. You're giving it something feeling good. And in step number 4, we haven't talked about it much, but we did it a couple times. Brandon even had you do it. Praise yourself. Give yourself some sort of praise. Pat yourself on the back. Shake your ass. Go like this, whatever it is. Smile on your face, whatever it is. Why? Because the brain releases dopamine, oxytocin, and all those things that make you feel good. And it says, what just happened? I want some more feel good. Oh, I interrupted my pattern. Let's do it again auto-freaking-matically. Type of one if that makes sense. So here's what that looks like. Watch real closely. And by the way, those of you that were on the VIP, I'm telling you, that's where the magic is. Some of you, I gave one of the questions last night, the shorter version of this, but listen, that's where the magic is, okay? So here's what this looks like, and that is this. Whatever you write down tonight, which is your personal toxic 10, you can use anyone, that you can remember an experience that you had, whether it was a long time ago or even yesterday, that when you think about it causes you to feel bad, I want you to think about it, okay? And all you're going to do is this. This is the whole process. Watch this. You're going to feel bad, and only for a split second. You're not going to, drag you. Well, wait, Joseph, let me get a half hour's worth of feeling like crap and do something. No, you only want to do it for a few moments in the very beginning. You're going to go like this. You're going to feel bad. And then second step is what? Interrupt the pattern. All you're going to do is stand up. That's it. And shake yourself out. Why? Because in that moment, you're no longer feeling bad. Your brain is actually going, does this work? Is Joseph full of crap? Am I, whatever's going through, your brain is doing something else other than there, right? And then it also starts to create a what? That's the vacuum, okay? And then the third thing is you're going to feel good on purpose. Watch really closely because this is very, very difficult. This is how to feel good on purpose. Let's see if I can do this. Matter of fact, we're going to do this here in a second, but watch. Watch, this is really, really, really complicated. Watch. Want to see it again? Watch. That's it. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. When you smile, remember what I said. What happens is your brain releases those hormones. Oxytocin. It releases dopamine. It releases all of those things that make you feel good into your system. And your system goes, what just happened before then? Oh, I interrupted my pattern. Let's do it again. And then the last thing is to praise yourself. So here's what I want you to do. Let me see if I can do it. Yeah, it is. I can go to gallery now. So I can see all of you freaks now. All right. And when I call you freaks, I mean that lovingly. All right. Freaks are people that do something different. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. Wherever you're sitting, I want you to be able to stand up, and we're going to do it together. I'm going to do it for you first. Watch. And you can just practice it right now. Just think of something that causes you to feel bad, only for a second, okay? Sit down, everybody sit down. Don't stand up yet. You're going to stand up. That's interrupting the pattern. And I'm going to go through it first. You're going to feel bad, and I'm going to count to 3, and you're going to stand up here like this. You're going to shake yourself out, and then you're going to go like this. And you're going to say the word yes out loud. You can squeeze your fist. And we don't have the time to go through all of the stuff, reason why you're going to do it. And then you're just going to pat yourself out, and you're going to sit back down. We're going to do 3 of them. Okay, ready? When I say feel bad, the first time is the longest time that you're going to feel bad, and it's only for a couple seconds. It's going to go faster and faster. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Feel bad. 1, 2, 3. Jump to your feet, stand up, shake yourself out, put a smile on your face, and squeeze your fist and say yes. And pat yourself on the back. Now sit your ass back down, and let's do it again. Okay? One more time. Feel bad. 1, 2, 3. Stand up, shake yourself out. Smile on your face, go, yes. Pat yourself on the back and sit right back down. Last time, here we go. Feel bad. 1, 2, 3. Jump to your feet, shake yourself out. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Smile on your face, yes. And pat yourself on the back. Now, even as little as we did this right now, we just did this just because of time, but you're going to practice this. I know it's silly, but this is how you rid yourself of the toxic 10. This is how you mitigate it so that it becomes automatic, that you snap out of it. Think about how much better you feel about trying to feel bad. Try to feel bad right now. Now, I can see you, right? This is so beautiful. I can see you, because here's what you guys did. And you only did this 3 times. Most of you went like this. Watch me real closely. Let me see if I can get myself back there. Here's what you guys did. When I said feel bad, all of you went like this. And we call that transderivational search. What is happening is you're searching for it. So type a 1 if you already feel better, even about that thing. Just type a 1, okay? You just did it 3 times. What would happen if something, I don't know what it is yet, oh yes I do, reminded you to do this a couple of times a day for the next couple of days? You see, when I did this on myself, I'm pretty intense about it. It's like Michael Pope said, when somebody tells me something, I do it right away. And when I learned this, and by the way, I just designed this out of, wanting to do it purposely for me. It literally took me a couple days before I was on it. And the very thing that caused me to be not disciplined was the thing that caused me to be disciplined, okay? Type of 1 if this makes sense, okay? Now, as simple as this is the process. This is the process that I want you to do. You only have 2 things, actually 3 things to do. I'm going to give you your homework now, and I'm going to remind you of it later. You are going to, number 1, you are going to, first off, continue what you did last night. Remember, it's a vision. You can just visit. You're going to read what you did before. Number 2, you're going to edit it in the way that Michael Pope did. Make it even more specific. It's this much money, this amount of time, that kind of thing, whatever it is. Okay. And then the third thing is, whatever you need to do to make that happen, whether it's, eat salad tomorrow, whether it is, whatever it is, and the toxic 10 shows up, that's what you're going to work on. That's what you're going to work up. You're going to think about that. Stand up, shake yourself out, smile on your face. Yes, pat yourself on. You're going to do that 10 times. I'm sorry, you're going to do that 5 times in a row, 3 times a day, 3 times between the now and when I see you again. It'll be 24 hours between now and I see you again. Okay. And how are you going to do it? How many of you have a cell phone? We all do. It's the law. Watch this. Hey, Siri, set an alarm for 1 hour.
1 hour, starting now.
Okay. She does it. Hey, Siri, cancel. Let me just cancel it here. Okay. She does it. She doesn't ask questions. She usually will call me. It's okay. Alarm set in 1 hour, Mr. Magnificent. That's what she calls me. I don't know why. But anyway, if you program her to do it, she's going to remind you. She's going to refocus you. Type of 1 of them makes sense. I know you got a phone. This is the way to use it for you. And when it happens, if you can drop what you're doing and go, feel bad, stand up, shake myself out. Yes. Pat yourself on the back, sit right down. That's it. Make sense? Type of 1 if that makes sense. I know I went through this fast, but just do this, and I promise you, you're going to start to, this is how discipline becomes automatic. Because if you don't feel bad, if you can't feel bad the way that you did before, you start to mitigate that. Remember, we're doing it by changing this. The pattern interrupt is doing the think. Then you're feeling different. If you feel different, then you'll do different. Okay. So in my last few minutes, you said 440, right? 25. I get excited when I'm doing this stuff, guys. Fabulous. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to share with you something that I absolutely love, and it has been my secret weapon for years and years and years. And it is the thing that I always say to people. Now, let me ask you guys this question. Type of one, if you know or know of somebody that just seems to be luckier than the average person. The ball always seems to bounce in their favor. Things seem to happen for them that don't happen for the rest of us. They're in the right place at the right time more often than anybody else. All of us. Now, is it possible that those people knowingly or unknowingly are doing something to make that happen? Yes or no? Is it possible? The answer is yes. And I'm going to share with you. Remember, I said there's 10 things that stop us. We know what they are, the toxic 10, and I gave you a way to at least start on that and start to mitigate that stuff. And by the way, this is your path to becoming a megapreneur, is doing something other than that other people don't. And I can tell you story after story about how this works, but I'm going to tell you how it works and what to do with it first or next. And so if it's possible that they are knowingly or unknowingly doing something to make it happen, then here's what that means. Is they're making stuff show up in their life. They're influencing the world around us. They're influencing people, places, circumstances, situations to show up in their lives at different times, whether they know it or not. Well, type of one, if it's possible, that if there is a process that if anybody else can do it, you could do it as well. If you knew what that was, you would do it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I'm about to share with you now, because I'm one of those people. I wasn't always. Yes, I see you, Kay. Okay. I wasn't always. I was just as unlucky as everybody else. And by the way, we have fleeting moments of it. We all have good days where you get all green lights or all great parking spaces or that kind of thing. But most of us don't know how to make it happen. So I'm going to share with you, and I want you to write this down. And this is all about going further, faster, getting what you want sooner rather than later. The 3 things that assist you and help you going further, faster. I call it the further, faster 60-20-20 rule. Write it down. Further, faster 60-20-20 rule. And here's what that means. These are the 3 things. All of your success, whatever you do, comes down to these 3 things. And I'm going to give it in percentages. 60% of your ability, 60% of your ability to achieve something or do something, which is today is what it's all about, is, wait for it, write it down, your psychology. Knew I was going to say that. You knew I was going to say that. Why? Think, feel, do, have. It's always there. It's top down. It's always, not sometimes, not most of the time, all of the freaking time. What is psychology? Big word. Most of us don't have a concrete definition for it. But psychology are just the conscious and unconscious thoughts that we have about ourselves first, other people, and our environment, the world around us. The constant unconscious and conscious thoughts that we have about ourselves, other people, and the world around us. Now, here's what I want you to know. Women do a better job at what I'm about to say here than men do, and that is this. Women, just physiologically, you have 20% more connective tissue from your left brain to the right brain. And what that means is that you can multitask better than men. In general, you have to be careful here, in general, okay? However, it can be at your detriment as well. Ladies, type of one, if you are thinking about this and all of a sudden you're thinking about this, you're thinking about this, you're all over the place. Type of one, if that happens to you, okay? And you got, Michael Pope said it before, you cannot multitask your way to success. It just doesn't work that way, okay? Now, you have an advantage over men because you can do more things at once than we can. So if you're focused on doing something, you can do more than that. Now, men, we have a disadvantage because we can't multitask as well. we also have an advantage because we can generally, men is just like focus on one thing, do that. That's what cavemen were. You find one buffalo in the crowd, go find that one, focus on that one, go get it. Okay. I'm going to stop there because I get myself in trouble. Okay. But here's the reason I say that is this, that when your psychology goes, okay, this is the thing I want to look at. This is the thing I need to do. I want to do. Here's what happens to us. In our brain, if we don't have a strong, loving, confident opinion of ourselves, guess what is going to happen? Yak, 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 yak. You can't do this. Blah, 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 blah. And it just takes us over. It consumes us. Type of 1 if that happens to you. And then guess what? We project that onto other people as well. They're probably thinking this about me or whatever, they're like this or whatever. We're doing that. And then we think, well, the world is about this. I'm an unlucky person, all that stuff. And it's a downward spiral. Does that make sense? But that's just a pattern. Okay. Whether you're a man or you're a woman, whether you're going crazy about it or you're not, whether you're too focused on something, whatever, you get to interrupt that pattern and come back to what I just taught you before. So your psychology, if you can determine what your psychology could, should, would be to serve you, then you can program yourself to be that way. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You've already been doing it with your very first exercise, because I had you write down what you're going to have in your life. And what comes along with that is the belief that you deserve it. All you got to do is read it over and over again. If you use your imagination says, I deserve this. I'm good enough for this. I want to have this. I'm going to make this happen. I. That's your freaking psychology, type of 1, if that makes sense. You see, we're doing it in a way that most people don't. We're coming about it in a different way so that you hear all these people saying, I said this earlier, that people say, Joseph, you changed my life. No, I didn't. I just told you to do this stuff and you do it. And that's what changes your life. You have a different belief about yourself, about what's possible, about what you can do just by doing the simple stuff. I always say this, the honeybee flies around and it's collecting, honey or whatever bees collect. It doesn't know that it's actually pollinating the flowers as well. That's the same with you. You do the exercise, you're the honeybee flying around, but you don't know that you're actually pollinating and that you're fertilizing your own conscious, your own psychology, type of 1, if that makes sense. Okay. So psychology is the first 60%. I've heard this before, the 80-20 rule of success. And that is, they say 80% of it is psychology. And in the simplest way is they go, if you think you can, then you can. And 20% of it is mechanics. Well, 60% is still the better half of it, but there's more to it. Now, here's where we're going to start to shift a little bit that most people don't talk about and most people don't express when it's time to be a megapreneur. That's my word, but to be successful at that highest level in whatever you want to do. Okay. And that is this. It's 60% psychology. And I hope you can see that if you shift your psychology, it's the think. If you feel good, you'll do good. You feel good and you'll do good. It's 20% energy. 20% energy. And energy in this case is not the just get up and go energy. What fuels that get up and go energy, what fuels that demeanor, what fuels that activity is electricity. Now stay with me on this because it's going to start to get a little cosmic on you, but I want you to understand this is science, ladies and gentlemen. It's electricity. And when I say electricity, I mean electricity. Everything about you, everything on this planet, as you will soon find out, has electricity on some form. You have enough electricity coursing through your veins right now to light up a room. You have enough electricity, and somebody says quantum, oh, don't get me started, all right? Don't get me started, okay? So what happens in us is the more electricity that we have, the better we're going to feel. The more electricity that we have, the more energy that we're going to have to do something. Remember what I said before, when you don't do something, when you don't go to the gym, it's because you don't feel like it. Well, guess what? If I was to hook up an EEG machine, electroencephalograph machine to you that measures the amount of electricity going through, it'd be very low. When you're feeling lazy, when you don't feel like doing this, when you don't feel like this, when you're any of that stuff, it's low. When you're excited and you want to do something, you're excited about something getting ready to happen, you're excited about whatever, your electricity is high. and you're more apt to do it. Did you know every single cell in your body produces electricity? Every single cell in your body has, at the very least, it's got all kinds of other stuff in it, but every single cell has something called ATP. Stands for adenosine triphosphate. You don't have to remember any of that stuff, but all it does is it's an electrical pump. It just creates electricity. And all of our cells have specific and particular functions that they have to do. Your liver cells have a function that they have to do, but if that cell doesn't have any electricity, then it can't do what it's supposed to do. Your brain cells have electricity, and if they don't have enough electricity, then you can't think clearly. Now, your muscles, here's what I want you to understand. Your muscles, they have, and everything has a very specific thing. They're called piezoelectric cells. You don't have to remember this stuff, but when you move your muscles, they actually push electricity out as well. Most of us don't think that. And they actually store electricity. You have more electricity in your muscles than you have in all your other cells. That's what they're there for. And again, I won't go into it. My dear friend he has figured out and mapped out the exact amount of electricity that goes through. You don't have to remember all that stuff, but just know the electricity. But here's the thing. Our electricity ebbs and flows, rises and falls with our emotions. That's it. That's all I want you to remember. Is when you feel good, you got more electricity going through you. When you feel bad, you got less electricity going through you. When you feel bad, that's why you lay around on your fat ass not doing anything, watching television, scrolling through the phone, whatever, okay? But when somebody says, hey, there's $100,000 out there in your mailbox, guess what happens? Eyebrows go up, dopamine, oxytocin goes through your system, you go, I'm out there already, and you're going. But guess what? If I hooked you up to that machine now, there'd be so much electricity going through, you'd be crazy. Remember what Michael said earlier. There's only two things that you can control. Only those two things. And when you do, you can control how you feel and what you think in that moment, and you can control what you do as a result of that. That's it. So if I can get you to, whether it's systematically or automatically, focus on what you want so that you feel good in that moment, electricity goes up in your system and you tend to do more. Type of 1, if this makes sense. Yes, it is a shift of states. This is how we shift those states, okay? If I can get you to do that, yeah, you can do that with me right now. As a matter of fact, type of 1, and you're still here. There are more people now than when we started on this. Why are you still here? Because, and if I hooked an electrodes up to you right now, is because your electricity is high. That's it. Between Michael, myself, Kay and Shai, Brandon, we've got you excited. And guess what? You're thinking possibilities. And electricity's going through you like crazy. 60% psychology. Psychology fuels electricity. I can change your psychology, and so can you in a moment. Want to see how to do it? Watch. As soon as you do that, the chemicals go through your system, more electricity. Unbelievably simple, yes? I can change that, so can you. Do you have that control, like Michael was saying, okay? Now, once that electricity's up, here's where the magic comes. Now, let me pre-frame just for a second, okay? This is my secret weapon. Oh gosh, I got to rush through this now, but I'm so excited about it. It's my secret weapon. I became, at the risk of sounding arrogant, very successful at a very young age. First was in real estate. I went to a seminar. Somebody taught me how to buy houses for no money down. I bought 26 houses in less than a year and a half's time, and I still benefit from that today. Okay? Next thing I wanted to do was I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to have a recording deal. Really hard thing to do. And I got a recording deal with CBS Records. And it wasn't because I was such a great musician. It's because I used this secret weapon that I'm about to bust on you right now. The next thing was, I told you, I wanted to write a book, New York Times bestseller. Next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to make some more money. So I joined a network marketing company. The name of the company doesn't make any difference, but I rose to the top of that company, 6 figures, and they still pay me today. And I've been retired for that for it's coming up on 20 years. Last thing is what I do right now. This is going to sound unbelievably arrogant, but I am the #1 ultimate performance specialist in the world. And I get to do what I do and impact so many people at this level. And again, it ain't because I'm so cute or because I'm so special. It's because of this that I'm about to tell you right now. And the reason I told you all that stuff is not to brag or to boast, but to let you know that this is my secret weapon. I do this every single time, and it is becoming, and makes me a megapreneur, but a magnetic megapreneur, which is the second or the last 20%. Magnetism. Write it down. Magnetism. Those people that are luckier than other people, those people that make things happen, is because they're magnetic. They're magnetic. But I don't mean just, the laws of attraction. As a matter of fact, the laws of attraction are only one of the 21 immutable laws of magnetism. Magnetism is physical. And I'm going to show it to you here in a second. I'm going to show you what stops us. I'm going to give you not a metaphor, but an example. Magnetism, ladies and gentlemen. Magnetism means not only are you bringing what you want towards you, but you're moving towards it again with it. Because how many of you have wanted something and there it is, and all you got to do is do this, 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 and this, but you didn't do it. You sabotaged. Take a type of one. All of us. Well, let me explain to you now so you know for the rest of your life why that's happened. It's the toxic 10 that comes in. Here you go. Watch this. Okay, so I have 2 magnets here, and these are very powerful magnets. Watch this. If I take these magnets and I hold it here, that one's going to go to that one. Or if I hold this one here, that one's going to go to that one. Why? Because they're magnets, and both of them are having, and everything on the planet is a magnet. The earth that you stand on is a very magnet. That's gravity. And earth doesn't just attract steel, it attracts everything. I don't care if it's a piece of dust or, air molecules, it attracts everything to it. Okay? But how are magnets made? You take a piece of steel and you bombard it with what? Electrons. That's it. And everything on the planet, every cell, every speck of dust, everything is made of at least these 3 things at its most subatomic level. Protons, neutrons, and electrons. That's it. Electrons. The more electrons it has, the more magnetic it has. Then how they made this was they bombarded it with electricity, and it's going to stay a magnet into perpetuity unless it gets demagnetized. So if I do this, boom, it comes here. But watch this. This ink pen has a metal clip on it. If I take the same thing and I hold the same distance, it's not going to go to it. This is pulling it, but if this isn't pulling, it's not going to go there. I have to bring this to it to stick on it. And it's not going to stick very well. I can shake it off. But watch this. And I'm going to prove to you, I'm going to show you how this already works. It works for you as well. How many times have you ever been sitting in your car and you feel somebody looking at you, and you look over and there they are looking at you? Type of one if that happens to you. Stay with me on this. You ain't going to hear this anywhere else. This is the special sauce, okay? Okay? Or you look over and you see somebody and they catch your silly ass looking at them. Okay, type of one. Now, what do you do when they catch you or you catch them? We all do the same thing. We go, pretend we're fooling with the radio or something. We look away. Now watch this. Pay close attention. First off, you are a magnet. Everything that I said, you run on electricity. A magnet is made with electricity. The more electricity that a thing has, the more magnetic it is. That's it. I can't go any deeper than that right now just because of time, but I want you to understand that's it. You don't have to understand anything more than that. Now watch this. First off, remember these magnets. Okay, now watch this. If I take these magnets, right? Now if I put them here, watch really closely. If I take these magnets, and I'm going to let go of this one first. Watch what happens. If I let go of that one. Oops, let me get it close. Oh, I knew what it is. The table's magnetic. Okay, hang on. Let me get it. There we go. Okay, so watch this. There's a big piece of steel underneath this table. Okay, so watch this. If I take this and I put it there, okay, if I let go of this one, it's going to go there. If I let go of this one, it's going to go there. Okay, now watch what happens. If I take this one and I turn it over, watch very closely. I turn it over, guess what happens? Okay, even if I push them together like this, it's going to push it away. I turn it back over, it's going to go together. Now, why am I showing that to you? Because I want you to look at yourself the same way that you're a magnet. And when you put your attention on what it is that you want, whatever it is that you want, your electricity grows. When you look at another, I'm going to use a person as an example, but it is synonymous with wealth, health, happiness, financial abundance, all this other stuff. When you look at another person, 4 very important things happen. When you put your attention on them, what happens? You get curious on some level. And when it does, your electricity grows, your electromagnetic energy grows. You can see it. Go on YouTube, look up Kirlian photography. Your electromagnetic energy grows. It's a very real thing. This is science. The second thing that happens is they feel it, or that which you want feels it. The third thing that happens, because they feel it, they get curious and their electromagnetism goes. And now you have two magnets, and guess what two magnets do? They come together. But watch this. What do you do when you catch somebody? You look away. Why do you look away? Fear of rejection. You want them to think you're creepy, whatever. And as soon as you do, you flip that magnet over, just like I showed you here, and it becomes polarity. You just flip the polarity and you push it away. So ladies and gentlemen, that is you sabotaging yourself. That is why I'm telling you this toxic 10 and what you need to do, not just mitigate it. I shared with you what to do about it. But when you change that, then guess what? The toxic 10 flips the magnet, what you're doing flips the magnet back, so you're in polarity and you start to bring towards you one, okay? Now, I could go on and on about this. This is actually more than I was going to share with you right now, but I wanted you to understand something, that these three things, number one, shifting your psychology. You want to be a megapreneur in whatever it is that you want, shift your psychology. Number two, shift your energy, your electricity. And number three, create magnetism. And like you said, a megapreneur is somebody that operates at the upper 3 to 5% of any chosen field. You are in some area that way, and this is the way to do it in what you want. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you your homework again of what we're going to do, but I'm going to turn it back over to my dear partners, Kay and Shai, here in a second. But I want you to understand something. I dumped a lot of stuff on you. For those of you that are VIPs, you got back and you can go back and listen to all this stuff. You don't have to remember any of it. You don't have to. Just remember the things I had you write down. I had you write down the 60-20-20 rule. I had you write down, the pattern interrupt. I had you write down just a couple things. That's all you got to do. I'll give you your homework in a moment, but I'm 2 minutes over my allotted time, and if I don't stop, they'll come after me with a vengeance. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring back to the stage Kay and Shai.
Oh, we greeted him this way. Let's put our hands back up on that fire. Joseph, you brought the heat. Thank you so much for such an incredible session here on day 2, due day, here at the My Moment Challenge.
My Moment Challenge is rocking and rolling. I hope you have as many notes as I do. We've had the pleasure of being students at Joseph's feet for a long time now. Many of you as well. In fact, how many of you are firewalkers? How many of you met Joseph at a UPW event? You're a fellow firewalker. We see one. Sarah says yes. Laura, Doc, Aviva, Gina, heck yes. How many of you have met Joseph through Les Brown, through Prove It, through seeing him on massive stages? Yes, look at through A Factor. Oh my gosh, we have a few coming up. For those of you who are in the Southern Hemisphere, we can't wait to see you next month. Joseph gets to travel around the world sharing these techniques and strategies, and people always ask him, how do I get more? How do I learn those specific formulas? How do I go through a process that helps me get there? And what Joseph has done has taken these methodologies and turned them into his life's legacy of passing them on to as many people as he can. And that's the opportunity you're going to have here today.
So tonight we are going to chat really quick about one of Joseph's signature programs to take you from where you are right now to where you're looking to be. This do-oriented formula to help you create that magnetic life of your dreams. And remember, Joseph is coming back to give us homework. Shai and I are going to be here for just a few minutes, but we have to share this with you because this program has been life-changing for us and for so many others. And we have the personal pleasure of getting to lead some of the accountability here as well. So let's get into it. Let's talk really quick. You've been hearing the word. You've been hearing Joseph talk about it. How is it that you become a magnetic megapreneur? How do we embody this magnetic megapreneur-esque type into our systems in order to create a magnetic megapreneur life?
Right. This means people finally starting new businesses, closing high-paying clients, over-delivering in our industries, breaking through challenges and barriers. That's some of the results that have happened in the Magnetic Megapreneur program. Now, Joseph just gave you a very high-level crash course, a few tools that you can put into your toolbox, but there's so much more that comes with this methodology. And not that it's complicated. Remember, number one value for Joseph is assassinate complexity. It's not complicated. but it does take a little bit of time to learn and, more importantly, install into the software of your brain. And that's where Magnetic Megapreneur stands above other programs, because not only is this an on-demand program with Joseph, it is accompanied with an 8-week live success track Zoom sessions with your sisters, Kay and Shai, and special appearances by Joseph and faculty members as well. The Magnetic Megapreneur program has helped thousands of individuals see real results. And that's what we love getting to experience every single time the Magnetic Megapreneur program comes forward, where we see students and members having massive results coming into their life. Like Jonathan Seaman, for example, he says, as I'm still surfing this Magnetic Megapreneur wave, I have 2 contracts in my possession now, consisting of $10,000 in revenue towards my 5,000 goal. Look, he decided, he did, and then he dominated and got a double on his goal of what he said at the beginning of his Megapreneur adventure.
Yes, we have seen so many folks get some incredible real results, and we have a cohort launching. So Crystal was in one of our cohorts, and she said, because of this program, I will teach the stop technique to kids and adults. Hey, you guys learned the stop technique today. Incredible. Let's embody it and take it even further. It is so powerful to be free from disempowering responses to real or made up situations. Now, look, the Magnetic Megapreneur program is for you if you are looking to reprogram your brain for consistent performance. Do you need consistency in your life? What we know is that consistency compounds into results. And so if you're looking to reprogram yourself for consistent performance, this is the place for you. If you're looking to replace your scarcity patterns that are holding you back from the abundant life you know is available for you, the Magnetic Megapreneur program is for you. If you're looking to master the mechanics of magnetism, remember, Joseph's value is to embrace a proven process. This isn't just to master the philosophies of magnetism. This is about mastering the mechanics of magnetism, because they work when you work the system. Your new magnetic success identity, if you are wanting to get in touch with that true self of yours that can create that magnetic future, this is the place to do it. And if you need an execution plan that's in alignment with that magnetic success identity, this program is for you. Maybe you're looking to master your emotional mechanics, or maybe you're even looking for some additional accountability so that you can see real results. This is the program for you. We are launching another cohort coming up very soon. We only launch a couple of cohorts per year. I see a bunch of our alumni in the comments. You guys are amazing. We love getting to be a part of this program, which is why it's our duty to be on and share it with you this evening.
Those success track Zooms are going to be starting up on Tuesday, the 26th. So you have to sign up for this right now, because this is starting in just less than 2 weeks, and they're on 4:30 p.m. PT Tuesdays. You'll see that August 26th through the end of October. But here is what is included when you join this cohort for the Magnetic Megapreneur. You not only get the on-demand program, you also get the 8-week live success track Zoom calls. Look, what we know is that less than 10% of people complete a program that they purchase on their own, but a 90% success rate. 90% success rate for those who engage in a once-a-week accountability session, which is why that was built in to the Magnetic Megapreneur offering for all of you. You'll get lifetime access to Joseph's signature business success program. So everyone who's saying they've been in it, they're all excited because they know they get to do it again. Every time, once you're in, you're an alumni, you can join every cohort, you reinstall, you refresh your programs, and you refocus on what it is that you're out to achieve and what it is you've decided to do. You get those 8 core modules with 24 hours of 24 videos of Joseph teaching you directly his Magnetic Megapreneur formulas, his stories, his techniques, and his applications. There's a lot of do power in the Magnetic Megapreneur program. Then you get those 8 weeks alongside your sisters here. We share, we care, we kick you in the butt a little bit, and we help you get through so that you can build that bridge between knowing and doing. Now, check out on the back end here, you can see each one of these weeks has lessons, different videos that come along with it. The videos have worksheets. If you want to see what that abundance and magnetism formula is and be able to refer to it forever, hello, this is where it lives. Now, you just heard him teach 60-20-20. Now you get to deep dive it with him and apply it to your life in specific ways alongside resources you'll have forever and resources that you can use like worksheets and implementable strategies right away. So there's so much that you'll have access to and ability to engage with inside of the Magnetic Megapreneur program.
That is right. We have a cohort starting on August 26th, which means now is the time to get into the Magnetic Megapreneur program. Right now is your opportunity because we are starting. We are getting this going into the fall. Kids are back in school. Now is the time to end this year with momentum and get into the next one like you've never seen it before. Now, our enrollment price right now is at $1,997 for this program. Magnetic Megapreneur is something that we have been able to bring forward to the public at this price, and we're excited to be bringing it forward again for you today.
It's a steal to have lifetime access to Joseph's materials and specific strategies that will help you through, and 8 weeks of live accountability alongside other community members who want what you want, to make an impact, to have a positive difference, and to be able to magnetize more good into their life so that they can help others. But this is your moment. This is the My Moment Challenge, and it's our moment to make this so easy to say yes to that there is nothing holding you back from engaging with the Magnetic Megapreneur program, which is why for those of you who are here and part of the My Moment Challenge, we have an exclusive special for you. Now that public price, $1,997, but you can just knock that comma right off because for all of you on the challenge, Joseph said, let's do what we can for these folks. You can get this program for less than $1,000 USD. This is not a killer offer. It's an IQ test, and you've got to pass the test because this cohort is starting in less than 2 weeks. And by the end of October, you will have installed the magnetic processes into your mental software so that you can go further faster, as Joseph likes to say.
Michael's over here in the comments saying, be a doer. I love this. Yes, we have an awesome deal for you right now. This is the opportunity to be a part of it. Look at some of what our previous cohorts have said. Jessica Mendez says, I'm doing more to magnetize what I want in my life while I'm thankful for what I have, and I praise myself and others as we achieve the progress. Thank you all for being part of this process. Wherever you are in the world, you've impacted my life with every intervention. That's right. This is a cohort, a community. We go faster and further when we go together. Now, Marcus says it gets you to the state of energy and vitality to do the activities to get you where you want to go with excitement. This is all about bridging that gap between what you know and what you do. Now, you guys have seen it. We've got a full pay price for you at under $1,000. But look, if you're ready to take bold action right now on the Magnetic Megapreneur course, right now, you can join this program for just $897. That's right, we're knocking $100 off for a full pay at $897. This is the best value that we've got for y'all. We're so excited to be bringing forward another cohort. You've seen lots of folks in the comments saying, oh my goodness, what is this? This is this is my cohort went through and I had an amazing time. It's incredible to see. Some of you are asking questions. Is this a personal growth and development program? Yes, it is also a megapreneur program, a magnetism program to bring forth that next level of your life. So look, this is the best value. Now is the best time to get in. This is happening really fast. We're going to be starting up in 10 days, but capture this momentum and be a doer right now. Join us in the Magnetic Megapreneur program.
Alana's in the comments over here, like, I paid $19.97 for it. It's not a joke. This is like the lowest, insanest, best value that has ever come across for Magnetic Megapreneur. How do we come alongside you and help you seize this moment? This is what we can do. Now it's up to you. Take the action. We've got payment plans. If you need that kind of flexibility, if you can swing the full pay, take advantage of that $897 price. This enrollment with lifetime access and a live accountability success track Zoom that starts in 10 days. It's the perfect time for you to seize the moment. Everything you see listed here is what you will have access to, that you will be equipped with, that you will be able to not only understand, but implement into your life so that you can be wealthy, right? Which includes healthy, happy, and financially abundant. Now, you saw Jonathan Steeman said it. A lot of people use this program for financial abundance and have massive success. A lot of people use this for impact. A lot of people use this for happiness, for clarity, for the ability to get themselves unstuck. And it's so much fun to do it together. It's incredibly powerful material. It's simple to understand, easy to implement, and with a community alongside you, you have a much higher chance of success. Plus, we made it so darn attractive for you. This is the time for you to join. It's your moment at the My Moment Challenge. Become a Magnetic Megapreneur. The next cohort starts in just 10 days. Oh boy, this is exciting.
Oh, it is so exciting. We can't wait. Some of you are ready to jump into this cohort. Some of you have already jumped into this cohort. Congratulations and welcome. We're so excited to have you. All right, next up, let's not hold him back any longer. Let's get into a little bit of that homework. You guys also have some more to do today. Remember, there's more to do tomorrow. We have one more day here at the My Moment Challenge. This is a challenge. This is 3 days of showing up and playing full out. Joseph played full out for you. Now it's your turn to continue to play full out for yourself. So Joseph, we're going to hand it over to you. Let's give these folks some homework. For those of you who are VIPs, we're going to get into our Q&A with Joseph. So Joseph, take it away.
Absolutely. And here's what's so great is I actually sent a text to you guys because my battery, I didn't plug my computer in and my battery went down. So I've been off the whole time. And I came back and I started to see the excitement of you guys here. And I sent you guys, if you look at the text, I sent you a question there that I'd like if you would answer that, and then I'll answer them as well. But first off, everybody, congratulations. Here we are, not at the end, but at the beginning of another voyage going forward. And so I want to do a couple things. I want to give you your homework, and I'm going to share with you what's coming up next and what to do and why to do it. And first off, everybody throw your hand in the air like this and reach over and pat yourselves on the back. Okay, give yourselves a hand because you made it this far. You know, again, you know, most people will look at something like this and go, okay, well, this you know, is something that I want to do, but then they don't stick through all the way through. You guys have. And this is just the very beginning. We're going to tie it all together. So let me give you your homework. If you guys, Kay and Shai, would you look at the text that I sent and respond back to me on that one? And so I'm going to give you your homework, and then I'm going to share with you when to do it, what to do. So your homework is really, really simple. Okay, great. All right. So I'm going to answer this question first because somebody was asking, I saw this before. What if you can't start, if you want to take advantage of this, but you can't start in 10 days, you're going to be on vacation or whatever, or you want to move at your own pace? Of course you can. The cohort is really great because you have Kay and Shai there to slap you around like you stole something from church and make sure that you do what was there. I just made that up. I'm not sure, but so I wanted to answer that because I've seen this before. So on your homework, here's what you're going to do. Really, really simple. Number one, write this down, is that you're going to re-edit and revisit what you did last night. That's it. Okay. You're going to make it a vision. And what that means is you're going to visit it again. I'll tell you the schedule of it here in a second. Number two, you're going to write another thing. Remember, what we write is what we invite. You're going to word exactly what you want in those areas, just like Michael Pope did. Just like he did. On or before this date, I'm going to have this or whatever, and be more specific about it, okay? And I know it seems a little nitpicky, but remember, guess what you're not doing while you're doing this? It's just you're interrupting the pattern, and what you're not doing is worrying about or anything like that. You're using your imagination, okay? And your imagination is the strongest thing that you have. Okay? Second thing that you're going to do is this. You're going to practice, you're going to do the pattern replacement that I told you, and it's really simple. I had you write it down. Feel bad on purpose. And it's just for a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Each time, even though it's tougher and tougher to get there every time, you're going to choose the thing that Kay and Shai said. What is the thing that of those toxic 10, and you can remember a time when you procrastinated or something, or anything that makes you feel bad at all. Think about it, and then stop, and then just stand up, shake yourself out, put a smile on your face, say yes, pat yourself on the back, sit down and do it. You're going to do it 5 times in a row, at least 3 times between now and when I see you next. If you're really ambitious about it, do it 10 times. And how you got to remind yourself to do it, listen, you got plenty of time. I don't care where you are in the world, okay? Even if it's midnight somewhere it is, and you're talking to me right now, do it once before you leave here, go to sleep, and then do it 2 more times before I see you tomorrow. Super, super simple for the next 3 days. That means you're going to be doing it even after I see you again. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. It's 2 a.m. AJ says it's 2 a.m. there. Okay. So what? Do it anyway. Okay. Remember what Michael said. Discipline is doing the prescribed activity, no matter what, even and especially when it's difficult. If it's difficult now, get over it. Slap yourself around and get up and do it. All right. So that is it. So here's what I want to do. I don't know who I'm turning this over to, Brandon, I think next, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say goodbye to you guys here in a second, but I want to remind you of something that I always like to remind everybody else. First off, thank you. Thank you again for, your trust. Thank you for allowing us, and I say us, myself and my amazing team, to be in your lives at this place right now. Our outcome, and the reason we do this, is to assist people in going further, faster, so that we make the world a better place. And it might sound bold and really noble, but it's true. Your success is going to be somebody else's success. At the very least, somebody's going to look at you and they're going to go, they did it, I can do it as well. Your family, your friends, people around. And in these times right now, we need more and more of that. You've also helped us, and you've done it as well, feed almost 26,000 people. 26,000 people. That's why we do this. This is our way of giving back and your way of doing it. And I'm going to say this. There is a saying, and it's not just a saying, it is true. Most of my mentors have different ways of saying this, and that is, you are going to operate within 10% upper and down of the people that you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with people that have a lower income, you're going to be either 10% more or 10% less. And unfortunately, most people, it's less, somewhere within that range. And so most of us, I've had the privilege of being around some pretty amazing people. I've magnetized those people in my life. And most of us don't have that. And I always say this to people, and tomorrow you get to meet just another unbelievable human being. And he's part of our team here as well, and he will blow your socks off as well. But I always say to people, if you don't have a team like mine, please borrow mine. Please borrow mine. My deepest wish for you is that you have people like that I've surrounded myself with in your life. And so that is why we create this that we have right now. That's why the Magnetic Megapreneur is there, so that you have something, that you've got that carrot on the stick, something to keep going to. There are people that are around you that are already being at another level, because it not only inspires you, but it makes it so it's possible for you. And so I honor you. I thank you for allowing us to be that part in your life right now. And I encourage you to be that in somebody else's life as well. Join us, stay with us. Tomorrow is going to be kicking it again. And lastly, remember, life's always exactly what you dare to make it, and fortune favors the bold. Continue to boldly step up and dare to make your life magnificent. I'll see the rest of you on the VIP. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody, give it up for Joseph, and just as importantly, give it up for yourselves. This is the wrap of this main session for day number 2. Everybody, not only does fortune favor the bold, but bold action is always rewarded. And so I invite you, along with Kay and Shai, the Neural Coding team, and Joseph himself, to become a Magnetic Megapreneur, alongside Joseph, coaching you as he takes you through this process to capture, create, and capitalize on the opportunities that are going to get you closest to the results, to get what you want and the things that you desire. Take action on this right now. This is specific for this group, and we want you to take full advantage. We're going to start a VIP in here in just a moment. I'm going to give you a few day 3 reminders so we can all show up prepped, primed, and ready to rock for day number 3, because as it just so happens, We are 2/3 of the way done for this My Moment challenge, but the fun is not over. So just a couple of reminders. Keep the momentum going. Join live and on time, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. We are live for day number 3. Practice your do mechanics and do your assignments. Go in that Facebook group, post one thing that you're scheduling, committing to do. Use the hashtag MyMoment so we can celebrate along with you and know that bold action is rewarded for your magnetic megapreneur. Best value, the best we've ever made it for this specific group. We're going to get up out of here and we will see you in VIP. Have a great rest of your day, evening, afternoon, morning.